So I got the last of the garden harvest pretty much ready for preserving. Ran down to the freezer. Oh, welcome back to the kitchen, guys. You're at that 1870s Homestead, and I'm Rachel if you're new here. And we are making stuffed bell pepper soup today and canning it. Something I've never done before. And I usually, well, I won't say usually, but I try not to bring you recipes if I'm not certain they're going to be good, but I think that this is going to be great. So what I have here is I had 3 freezer bags full of frozen tomatoes down in the freezer from when they first started coming in. And the great thing about doing that is you can quickly reduce the juice of your tomatoes by just letting them thaw. But I also got a ton of prep work done this morning. I got the last 3 monster zucchinis shredded, bell peppers shredded, and all the rest are chopped, and all the rest of the jalapenos chopped. So I don't need the zucchini and the jalapenos, but I do need the bell pepper for this recipe. So I'm gonna share it all with you. We're gonna do some rebel canning today in the kitchen. So if you're not prepared for that, strap on your seatbelt. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, I just went ahead and threw the tomatoes on my roaster. Oops. And I'm gonna be cooking up 2 pounds of meat, whatever you wanna use. I'm using our ground turkey. You could use a blend of sausage and beef. I'm going to be adding beef bouillon cubes or beef broth to this to give it a little bit of a beefy flavor. But ground turkey is what I have on hand. I don't have any ground beef. So we're just going to cook this and brown it. And then other things, like if you're following along, which I always encourage people to do, if you're following along and kind of canning and cooking in the kitchen with me, you're going to want to get out some onions and chop those 4 to 6 cups. And you're going to want to have garlic on hand, cider vinegar, spices of your choice, basics, like I said, garlic, salt, pepper. You could do basil, oregano, cayenne would be great in it. I'm gonna add just a little bit of oil to this because that turkey does not have much fat. I probably added 2 tablespoons or so of avocado oil just to prevent this from sticking. And what was I saying? Oh, ingredients. Cider vinegar goes in it. But the rebel thing that we're doing today, I want you guys to stay tuned, is we are cooking soup with rice, canning soup with rice in it. Okay, my beef is all cooked, not beef, my turkey is all cooked behind me. Now the recipe called for chopped tomatoes, and I am not in the mood to chop them. You know, being that they were frozen first, they're just not the same texture and firmness as a fresh tomato would be. So I'm going to immersion blend them gently, like leaving some chunks. Alrighty, I need to add 8 cups of green peppers. All right, about 6 cups, I said, of 4 to 6 cups of onions. That's about this. Just a bag of frozen onions that we preserved down in the freezer rather than me having to chop them all from scratch. Did I get that turned up way too high, I think? Okay. Okay, now I'm going to add a quart of beef stock. You could use chicken stock, turkey stock, whatever you have, or you could just use like that leftover tomato water that I had and add some beef bouillon cubes to it. You just need about 1 quart to 1.5 quarts. Like if this isn't soupy enough, I'll probably add that tomato water in here. Okay, now we'll add our cooked turkey. I'm gonna try, I haven't drained this. I'm gonna try to just spoon drain it because I wouldn't mind a little bit of that oil for the fat, since my turkey has none. That looks fun. Yep, I think I am going to add a little bit of the tomato juice. Okay, that's more like it. Now, totally going off recipe like I always do, but you guys know I love liquid aminos. So first let me add I'm adding about a 1/3 cup of sugar. I'm gonna add probably about a 1/4 cup of liquid aminos. If a lot of people ask on my videos, what's liquid aminos? If you don't have it, so it's made by Bragg's. It's a all natural like soy sauce. But if you had soy sauce, you could use that. It just adds, brings like a depth of flavor to just about anything that you cook. And I really like adding it to everything. I don't think it needs it. Now the recipe called for tomato powder or tomato paste, but most of the tomatoes that I used were Romas or San Marzanos. So it's really thick already, like tomatoey. What else can we add? I think I'm gonna hold off. Maybe we'll add the oregano. No, let's cook this. Let's do that. Let's cook this till the vegetables soften and then we'll season. So about 20 minutes, I'm gonna let this go about 300 degrees and then I'll bring you guys back. We'll season it to taste and then we'll get to canning it up. It's super, super fast recipe. You know, I did have some prep work pre-done, but if you've already got tomatoes in the freezer and you're wondering what to do with them, you got your last of the peppers coming in, you know, maybe you need to go buy some onions if you didn't grow onions, but otherwise it's a really easy recipe. And I should say, if you're a vegetarian, you could just throw beans in this and leave out the meat. So let's put the lid on and I'll be back with you guys here shortly. I realize while that's cooking, I can totally get the rest of these bell peppers frozen. Do that. I tell you what, I had the absolute best pepper year. And guys, I grew all these peppers from seed myself, like for the first time ever. Just incredible. Can't say that I necessarily know exactly what I did to have that magic. I think it was just a fantastic season. We had a really wet and hot summer. And it was just a great year. We're taking turns in the freeze dryer lately, trying to get a lot of things freeze dried, but I have this is my fourth gallon freezer bag of chopped peppers. So we have all the peppers we could want. I doubt we will go through them all in a year, but we'll see. We'll make our best attempt. And then I've got a bunch of quart size bags to bag up my last of the shredded zucchini. There are 2 yellow crookneck squashes in there that I blend together with the zucchini, and then you never know when you're, using it for whatever you use it for. I'm gonna save some out because I have been craving zucchini bread, so we're gonna make some today and just have a nice fun fall dessert. So we are going to move on and add the rest of our ingredients. I'm adding about 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar. Let's see, it's just salt to taste, so I think we'll start with 6 teaspoons. We'll do probably 3 teaspoons of pepper, maybe 1.5. Because I do want to add cayenne to it too, I forgot. Have some oregano. Now for the garlic powder, let's start with 3 too. Cayenne, I'm probably just going to go about 1/2. All right, let's give that a stir in, and we might be ready to can. See, like seasoning to taste is you just want to taste it as you go. You can add as much seasoning as you like without affecting the safety of canning. So, things to probably typically stay away from in canning recipes are things, specifically sage. Sage will take on a definite bitter flavor after canning. So I typically don't ever put sage in anything that I'm canning. It looks really yummy. My goodness. I think there was enough pepper powder still in the air. It got me. It's excellent. It is really, really, really good. Okay, let me take you down here and show you what it looks like. Doesn't that look great? Just absolutely delicious. I'm still wondering, because I will be adding rice, I think I am going to add some more tomato juice, bring that up to heat before I can it. I'm going to have to use a colander because this has a few stems in it. All right. You just went, okay. See, it was so, definitely soup. But once you add, because we'll be adding an uncooked rice, it's going to really soak up a lot of that liquid. So I think we're good now. All right, let's bring this up to a boil, and then we will be ready to can. Okay, we're getting close. It's time to add the rice. I put all my spices away. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of rice to each jar. If you were doing quarts, you would add 4 tablespoons. We're going to be pressure canning these pints for 75 minutes. If you were doing quarts, you would go 90 minutes. I love soup for quick lunches in the fall, winter months. It's often what I eat during the summer. It's sandwiches every day with garden fresh tomatoes and lettuce. But once that ends, I so enjoy going down to my pantry and grabbing a soup. I've been eating up all my, I made like a really yummy greens, like with my cabbage greens and ham hocks and northern beans and sausage. Oh, I've been eating that up the last few days. So now we're gonna have some awesome stuffed pepper soup. We're going to 1 inch of headspace. How about that? Doesn't that look great? Yum, yum, yum. The recipe that I'm going to leave in the description for you, again, is something that inspired me. You will notice that there's some ingredients that aren't quite called out that I used, you know, spice-wise, or the recipe didn't call for liquid aminos. And the recipe is going to give you the amount for 7 quarts, which would be 14 pints. So I kind of just used that as a base and went off of how many tomatoes I had. All right, I easily have, I would guess, 3.5 quarts left. So probably 1.5 quarts for dinner tonight, and then the rest will, you know what, I might take some over to my son and daughter's house. Then our son Nick has been in Wisconsin, and when he gets home, he's probably not going to want to cook, so I'll give him the other quart when he gets home tomorrow for his dinner. All my kids grew up really liking soup. I don't know about Abigail that much, but the boys certainly did. So I always shopped soups for after school snacks, weekend lunches, things like that. And it's just so fun being able to make your own now. So I'm going to get all of these in the canner. I get a lot of questions about my canner. That's the All-American 930. The great thing about this is I can double stack jars in it, even quarts. So I'll be back at the end of the video, guys, and show you what they look like coming out of the canner. It's pressure canning. I'm going to vent it for my elevation at 10 pounds of pressure for 10 minutes. Then we'll put the weight on. We'll bring it up to, like I said, no, let me rewind. I'm going to vent my pressure canner once I put the lid on and it comes up to a boil. It'll vent for 10 minutes. Then I will put the weight on. Once it comes up to 10 pounds of pressure, we will then pressure can these pints for 75 minutes. So as always, I'll be back and show you what it looks like coming out of the canner. I need to whip up some cornbread to go with this for Todd and I's dinner. So maybe we'll all just eat and celebrate the beauty of a whole bunch of soup on the pantry when I get back with you guys. Sorry it's loud. The canner's still going, but we have to eat dinner. And I'm excited.
It smells good. I've been outside working all day and I came in and I asked her, did you save some so we can have some for dinner? She said, yep.
Mm-hmm. Some people call this like deconstructed stuffed bell peppers. Fancy way of saying it.
Oh, sure. Did you use our turkey meat?
Mm-hmm. Really, really, really good, guys. That cayenne is perfect in it. Oh, it's so good. I'm so happy. But he's the real taste test. He always tells me the honest truth. And then I usually say, you can't see that on camera.
Is it really hot?
It's a little hot.
Yeah, it's good.
Isn't it great?
Yeah.
Really good. All right, I hope you guys give it a try. I hope it's some inspiration on ways to use up that last little bit of garden harvest. I'm really happy. So I will leave you guys with the clip of what the jars look like after that rice poofs up. And I'll see you guys later. Guys, this is my first time canning with rice. There's quite a bit of siphoning, more than I would expect. So if you're gonna do this recipe, go with 1.5 inches of headspace instead of 1 inch. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I mean, all the, pressure came down naturally. There was no forced pressure release. So interesting. So the ones that lost a little bit more juice, so they're going to be like thicker, like rice dishes, I'm going to eat it as is. Or if you have this problem and it happens to you, you could always add a little bit of tomato sauce or something like that, or tomato juice, or even chicken broth or something like that to make it more soupy again. But I think I'll just eat mine as a deconstructed stuffed bell pepper. So thanks, guys. It was really fun. We loved it for dinner. I'll definitely make it again, and I'll just practice 1.5 inches of headspace.